You know, I think, you know, I understand like due process, you know, due process for teachers,
Yeah, sure.
and you want to make sure that that particular, because I have a feeling that that's one of the main issues that they're trying to protect is the due process of this teacher.
Right.
Did she act, you know, solely, or did she have the approval of, say, the administrator or, you know, the curriculum or whatever? So that's, you know, I'm sure that that investigation is kind of taking a look at all of that and doing what they can to do that. But, you know, in a situation where, say, you have a principal that knows how to deal with this particular situation, and that had a more, I guess, for lack of a better scenario, is like, you know, just a more communicative style about them, or a different kind of leadership. Do you think that the parents could have, you know, could be okay in that kind of situation?
Well, personally, I think so. If I knew this teacher was acting alone, which I was told she was. I was told by the principal that this teacher did not, you know, get her curriculum approved by her. So this parent was acting alone. But I was very disappointed that the fact that they did not notify the parents, the administration. And I feel like that is their job. You know, they're protecting our kids. And if they do really care about the children, then they would let the parents know what happened. And it wouldn't be a big secret. You know, just to brush it under the carpet so you don't have to deal with it, it's going to get worse if you don't deal with it.
And you know what I'm also getting is like this hesitancy. You know, whenever you're dealing with a situation, you're dealing with people,
Right.
you know, and their jobs and everything. There's this real hesitancy on being able to speak about any situation that you have any kind of opinion on. You know, and we've had discussions with, you know, some of the teachers, and I can understand like the major confusion that they're going through as well. And plus, they're teachers, so they're expected to teach and give answers and help these students, you know, with these questions that they may have too.
Right.
And then, so it's not only miscommunication or lack of communication towards the parents, it would also be like just a whole school communication,
Right.
you know.
I think lack of leadership, you know, in really addressing this problem with a sense of urgency. I would not feel so compelled to, you know, even be here to bring some attention to it if there was a sense of urgency in dealing with that situation. But I sit here and I wonder, what was this person doing for the 2 or 3 weeks after the incident was brought to the administrator's attention? Where was this person, and what was this person doing on campus this entire time? Maybe doing more damage that we don't know about? I mean, I don't think that it's too much as parents to ask what happened. I find it insulting that I have to beg for that information. You know, I don't understand it, and I don't understand how that can be okay.
Next steps for us at the school. You know, it was really interesting. I saw one of the parents in the community meeting, and after being absolutely frustrated with this particular situation, you know, it was a hop and a skip volunteering back with the, you know, the parents group, saying that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, to me, that I observed that it was nothing, you know, it wasn't about getting the parents' way. It was all about what can we do to help, you know, our kids to be informed, to be, you know, involved in that way.
Right.
Well, and I think also the younger classmate parents are concerned about what their children are being exposed to, because on the playground, people, because it's been in the media, the kids are asking what was shared in that class, asking the 6th graders. And for personally, my child said 2 4th graders asked her specifically what was shared, and she said, thank goodness, she said, I can't tell you that. It's not appropriate for your age, and you should talk to your parents if you have any questions. But what children are telling the other children what was shared, you know? And I think in the SCC meeting we went to, that was one of the issues that the other parents had. Hey, they need a generalized meeting and say, hey, this was wrong what was shared, and please do not share it with the younger kids, you know?
I think that would be helpful to acknowledge as a group that this was not okay, and this was information misguided, maybe a class that went, you know,
Went bad.
Went bad.
Now, I have heard from some concerns from teachers that basically say when it comes to the controversial issues policy, you know, it's very tough as a teacher, you know, because what might be controversial to one and more serious, you know, to a parent, it may not be that serious. And we are teachers, so we're here to provide, you know, whatever we can to help challenge them in all the different sides of a particular issue. So, and the bottom line is there is age-appropriate material, you know. So having said that, I mean, I'm not applying it to, you know, across the board that there should be like this freedom of being able to teach whatever. But what do you say to that? Like, does one of the extreme cases is, okay, well, what if it's on politics or social studies and we're studying a war and it could be controversial in how it's being taught or whatever, you know, does that mean that you have to go home and make sure everybody knows like what's being taught, the parents what's being taught, and get their signed approval on, you know, on it? I mean, what's your thoughts on something like that?
I mean, I think if a teacher feels that it could be walking the line of controversial, I don't see why not. I mean, there are going to be parents that are going to say that's fine, and there's going to be, and I think parents should be allowed to say, no, you know, I don't think that's okay for my child to hear about that from you in this way. They should be able to opt out, right? To say no. But that's, you know, then again, communication and accountability.
And I found your point of making sure that it's communicated that, you know, your 40 cents is overdue and all that other kind of stuff is really core and important. And the material that you teach in class should be just as important to be able to get that kind of, you know, parental approval. Currently, just for our sake in understanding what's, you know, what's the current policy, it's basically an opt-out policy. And you explained it earlier. One of the things that we're considering moving forward for especially kids who are in, I mean, it goes throughout the whole K through 12, but mainly for elementary kids especially, that, you know, whatever the curriculum is, that there be some idea that what the parents, you know, what is going to be taught that year, you know, and if you have some idea, whether it be health or anything else, that you have some idea on what your children will be learning. And so it was really interesting because that whole situation having to do with, you know, teaching war or politics or that sort of thing, I never thought of it that way. And when the teacher did bring that up, I said, well, that's kind of true too. I mean, if you have strong feelings about a particular war or whatever, you know, it's not that, you know, it's not that you should get everybody to opt into the curriculum, but it would be nice to know what your child is learning that year, you know, what they're going to be going over. So we will be working and looking at policy either through the BOE or working with the legislature to look at more parental options, whether it's opting in or opting out of the curriculum, but really kind of coming back to at least center in regards to having, you know, parents have the ability, a say.
Well, and if they ask a question about something that was controversial, that they get an answer. Exactly.
That there is some kind of response, and there's, in this case, there's basically accountability in the end, should it not, you know, meet the approval of many parents, even at that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you, Alison, for being on our program today.